Dan Larson here, and I'm at the photo booth. Enough chit-chat. We got a lot of P.O. Box stuff to get to today. Up first, we're going to go with Allison from Mitchellville, Maryland, all the way in the back here. I'm going to bring him up to the front here. Cross your fingers, hope we don't knock everything over. It took me a while to set all this stuff up. Yeah, I was like, you know what, I'm going to put the biggest thing in the back, and then I'm going to start with that as number one. That makes sense, right? This is a well-planned performance here. This is from Allison in Mitchellville, Maryland. This is a Fansproject Crossfire, aka you may have already known him as the Combaticons, Bruticus, the Combiner. I've only got experience with well, this one now, the G1 version, and then of course the Combiner Wars version. This is crazy. This is a crazy thing. More and more, I don't really do a lot with third-party Transformers. Obviously, we don't really cover them much on the show. But the more I am exposed to them, the more I'm impressed with the quality of them. I'm always surprised at how I always expect them to be a lot more brittle than they are. I expect them to fall apart, crack easily, you know, whatever. But the few pieces that I've actually handled myself have actually held up pretty well. And this one is really impressive. There's a lot of engineering things here that are absolutely incredible. Things that didn't show up on the, you know, mass-produced Hasbro version. I do have some serious issues with IP infringement, copyright infringement and that sort of thing, but that's not my problem. That's between Fansproject and Hasbro. They can hash that stuff out, and Takara and whatever else. This is a really great thing. I love I love that the third-party version does come with much better hands and feet than the Hasbro version did come with. But this thing's incredible. I don't even. Thank you. I don't even know what to say to something like this. This is an incredible piece that I look forward to throwing on the shelves in back of the videos, because I love having stuff that's takes up vertical space. I know I've said that in videos before, and honestly, I'm so lazy when it comes to this kind of stuff that I will probably never take it out of this mode. I'll pose it in this mode. He's got tons of he's got a bunch of cool weapons and stuff. I really like it in this mode. I did take some time and play with each one. I did take some time and analyze each individual figure just to see how they look in their individual robot modes and their vehicle modes, but it really is all about this, and all the combiners are, and I'm sure that's a discussion that happens pretty commonly on in Transformers community forums and whatnot, where when it comes to the combiners, the combine mode really should be the priority, because that's the real character that you're buying. You're buying the big piece, you know. That's the thing that should work the best. Looking at you, Volcanicus. Up next, we've got Anton from Alamogordo, New Mexico. In one of our recent videos, I believe it was the one Disney Fox merger video, I playfully disparaged Alpha Flight, and that nobody was asking for an Alpha Flight movie. Anton took that to heart and sent in some Alpha Flight comic books here. Issue 56, issue 55, 17, 5. You know, he acknowledges that they're not the best comics in the world, but here's the thing about Alpha Flight is, if you're a Jim Lee fan, you really do need to at least get the few pieces. This is a Jim Lee cover right here. I think he did the interiors too, if I'm not mistaken. But this is some very early Jim Lee work. And back when he was blowing up on X-Men back in the day, it occurred to me that he had been doing Alpha Flight beforehand. And so I did seek out some of these issues. That said, I don't know that I have any of these issues, so that's great, Anton. Also, Anton also sent in some ephemera, some of these old 90s catalogs. We've got the Kenner is Fun with old Power of the Force stuff. My man Ishi Tib right there. Removable helmet Vader, good stuff. Got the Bantha, the Rancor. I love this stuff. I have a whole envelope. I was going to say manila. I have a whole, that's not important. I have an whole envelope full of this kind of stuff that I've just collected over the years. Hey, look at this. Mummy's alive. We'll have to add that to the, I don't know, maybe oddity. I don't know if it's big enough to be considered a history of starting lineup G.I. Joe. Lots of cool stuff in here. This kind of stuff is just, I absolutely love it. Here's another Kenner catalog. Mask, Batman, Beast Wars, G.I. Joe. I've got, you know, old blister cards and old catalogs from, you know, back to just everything spanning the ages. This one's not even that old. Hey, look, Boba Fett. But I love that stuff. Anton also sent in this note that says, facts about Alamogordo, birthplace of the atomic bomb, and burial site of thousands of Atari ET cartridges. That is true. It was an urban myth, urban legend for a really long time, but there's a whole documentary. I think it was on, might be on Netflix. I definitely watched it somewhere, but fascinating. Love it. Thank you very much for that, Anton. Up next, we've got Jim from Lockport, Illinois. Jim sent in the total... Oh, he's laying down. Get up, Soups. Get up, Clark. Or half a Clark. I wasn't really paying attention when this comic story was going on. I remember it being one of the earliest betrayals as a fan of stuff, being far too invested in things like that, thinking, oh my God, they can't do this to Superman. It's Superman. He's an American icon. Forgetting that, you know, it's just a character and you got to sell books. And the guy's been around for like 100 years. And, you know, you need to mix it up every once in a while and do some interesting stuff. And that all just, it's all... You move the pieces around to allow some room for further character development in ways that hasn't happened before. So the idea of splitting into red, Superman Blue, who's this energy being, whatever, was, to me, I was like 15, absurd at the time. But now I can look back on it and say, oh, that was actually a pretty neat thing that they did with Superman for that time being, because you lose track of the fact that none of this stuff is permanent. You're like, I can't believe they're going to get rid of Superman. This is an abomination. But then you're like, oh yeah, it's going to be done in like 6 months. They just got to move books. So this is from, the line was originally Total Justice, which was just about as 90s extreme. Look at this sinewy, you know, musculature and the sculpting and stuff, and just the weirdest of poses. And this is a repaint from the Justice League line, I think Justice League line, that followed it up, where they sort of expanded the roster and add a lot of other different characters. So that's anything. I don't know if they did Superman Blue in this line. I'll have to look into that and find out. Thanks for that, Jim. Up next, we've got Michael from, I believe it's pronounced Bourbonnais, Illinois. Bourbonnais. Michael sent in the... we got some stuff in the way here. Sent in... well, let's move over here, so we got things we can actually reach to. This is Nightwing, the first appearance, or just Teen Titans version. I like DC. All right, we don't have to split this whole thing into Marvel versus DC factions. I like DC. I was not reading it this time. I know this is his suit. I don't know if this is his actual first appearance. Well, it says first appearance on the stand, so I'm going to go with first appearance. But, wow. That's a costume. So I don't know his whole history of when he switched over to Teen Titans, or, you know, graduated from being Robin and all that stuff. I haven't read those books before. It's not important. This is a pretty cool 6-inch figure. We got Cassandra Cain. I think this is Cassandra Cain. Batgirl, Batwoman. It says Batgirl on the stand. So Michael sent those two in. Very cool stuff. These are not bad figures. My only complaint, I don't think I was buying many DC figures at this time. There is no date on that. But I have I got a Superman, I got a Batman, I think I have a Green Lantern. I have Etrigan the Demon. My complaint was always that they would, you know, you got the shoulders, you got the hips, you got the knees, you got the elbows, but that was it. Actually, I think you got wrists too. And, you know, Marvel had a lot of these figures too, where like Marvel Select has the same problem, where she's kind of got her, you know, weight tossed off on her hip, her shoulders are, you know, a little askew. And it just, you get stuck in those positions, and it's like, look, either give me articulation or no articulation and a pose, and then it's a statue. Don't do weird pose and articulation. I hate it. You know, this guy is kind of like that too. And I think part of that is the McFarlane influence on stuff, where those were statues with some joints, but they were never really intended to be posable things. They were just supposed to be statues. But these are pretty neat figures. Got some nice, actually, got some nice sheen on there, some nice shininess on his pants. Michael also sent in, let's slide these guys out of the way over here. Michael also sent in, excuse me guys, this translucent, clear Funko Pop Frodo Baggins. I'm not a huge Funko Pop fan, but I do have Funko Pops, and I think everybody does at this point, and that's I would argue that this is why the number one thing that separates them, there's two things that separate them from Beanie Babies. A lot of people say, oh, they're the new Beanie Babies. Everybody's going to be sitting on these just like they are with Beanie Babies. They're going to be absolutely worthless. Two things. One, licensing. The Beanie Babies never really got into licensing, so you just had generic characters. People who love Lord of the Rings are never going to get rid of this thing the way they got rid of Beanie Babies, because it's part of their Lord of the Rings collection. So that's part of what's going to keep Funko, and has kept Funko Pops going much, much longer than Beanie Babies ever could have imagined. The other thing is people who don't care about Funko Pops are getting things, you know? Like, I don't really care about Funko Pops. I'm not collecting Funko Pops specifically, and yet I do still have several in my collection. I have Voltron, I have Sharknado, I have Slimer, I have Captain America, Sidon Ithano, and now this. So I just, if you're expecting the Funko Pop bubble to pop, I think you're going to be holding on. I think you're going to be holding your breath for a really long time, and you're probably going to die because of it. So thank you very much to Michael for sending those items out. Up next, we've got Luke. Luke from Tom Price, the city of Tom Price, city in Western Australia. This is Boba Fett, vintage Kenner Boba Fett number 381 in the Boba set. This one is gorgeous. Look at this guy. We've got just about no paint left on his chest. He's got paint missing on his face, missing on his gauntlet. His legs and his body don't match. It is fascinating, absolutely fascinating to me. I have never been to Australia, and it is fascinating to me when something like this comes in from, internationally, from another country. I've been to Japan. It was so long ago. I barely even know it. I know it from photographs and just vague memories, but this guy was in Australia not too long ago, and I find it fascinating, and I wish I could know what his whole life story was, how he got there, what he did, what he saw, and those are the things. That's what the Boba Set really is all about, for me, is just this idea that there's life and there's history in this thing, and it also happens to be my favorite action figure. Thank you very much, Luke, for number 381 there. Up next, we got Bailey from Rockledge, Florida. Bailey sent in quite a few things. I couldn't even fit them all in here. What we're focusing on here is this Red Ranger, this not translucent, iridescent, pearlescent Red Ranger here from the Legacy Collection. I have the White Ranger, I have the Green Ranger, and I didn't get anybody else because while they are highly posable, and I do dig them, and I think it's great for the fans of Power Rangers or even Zoo Ranger for Sentai folks, the proportions still bug me. They seem like they have tight, like the characters that are in suits, the actors, the stunt people, they're normally proportioned. They're not superheroic. They don't have big bulging muscles and ripped up shredded abs and, these, 8 heads tall proportions. They're normal sized people. They're supposed to be teenagers with attitude. If you're going by Power Rangers, if you're going by Japan, they're just normal people. They're kids. And so the physiques really bug me. So I have the White Ranger and the Green Ranger because they both have chest armor. They have their armor plates, and it covers up some of these bulging pectorals and shredded abs. But this one is actually, I'm digging it because it does have that sort of pearlescent look. And he comes with his really cool sword, which I'm probably going to have to treat a little bit here and see if I can get that to flatten out a bit. Along with that, we have the Alternators Optimus Prime. Definitely a line that I never got into. I was checked out on Transformers at this point. That said, I did think it was absolutely fascinating that they had found a way to do cars alt modes that really, really, really looked like vehicles, and that was impressive. And I remember seeing them in the stores and just oohing and ahhing at the rubber tires and steering mechanism. The wheels would be would move together when you turned them. They looked like scale cars that also happened to transform into robots. So, and got the car engine turns into the gun. They're fascinating pieces, and they even have more posability than any sort of G1 piece would have had. So that's a very cool piece as well. We've also got in the back here, we have Robots in Disguise, which we haven't covered this yet in our history of Transformers. We'll get to it. Like I said, it's an era of Transformers that I was both of them, I was absolutely checked out on. So the line between Beast Wars, Beast Machines, Robots in Disguise, I don't know where the lines are. And it is confusing. It just gets too deep if you're not, fully committed to it and checked in on it. This is, of course, Galvatron, or my notes say Devil Gigatron. It would be the Japanese version. I have in the past had the purple version, and it's a really cool mold. I haven't really transformed it yet. I think it has electronic features. I'm not 100% sure now. But hey, you know what? You can't go wrong with a devil dragon. And I think he's like a 6 changer or an 8 changer. translucent bat wings, dragon wings. It's all good. That's all good. Love all that stuff. And then we've also got, oops, let's move this out of the way. In the back here, we have a carded Power of the Force 2 flashback photo Anakin, which makes me laugh. This is the last time we'll ever see this figure in this form, because this guy doesn't exist in the movies anymore. Cut him right out of the continuity. And if you... I don't want to get into the whole conversation about canon and changing things and what you grew up with and how things got altered. I still think this dude should be in at the end of Return of the Jedi, but this is a curiosity because it is a thing that even as late as, you know, the release of Phantom Menace, nobody knew that this guy was going to get... George Lucas didn't even know that this guy was getting taken out. Otherwise, I don't know why you make the action figure. And of course, you got the little flashback photo here that changes from little baby Anakin to old man Anakin, redeemed Anakin Skywalker, and he comes with his lightsaber, and that's not even kind of close to the right lightsaber that he should have there. But anyway, that's a cool piece. I'll add that to my carded collection of Power of the Force figures. I don't have many, but I have a couple. And then also from Bailey, we have the Funko Pop Boba Fett, which, you know, we're just talking about Pops, and I don't really collect them, but this is an awesome one to have. I am shocked that I didn't already have one. Generally, I like the ones where, because I don't like Funko Pops that have the cold, dead shark eyes. So the ones I have, Sharknado, Voltron, you know, I think I have a Batman, you know, when the eyes don't look like cold, dead shark eyes, unless it's a shark like Sharknado, that's when I feel like they work the best. And those are the ones I dig. So I think this one was actually an exclusive, maybe from a Loot Crate type of thing. I think it might have been the Star Wars version of that. So this is really fantastic. I'm glad to have this. Thank you very much. It is busted. It did break off of the little exhausts broke off of here. I just put a little bit of putty there to hold it in place for this video, but I'm gonna have to glue that back on. So that's great. And then also we had several of these Lego minifigures, Red Hood, Batman in his pajamas, Hot Rod, Creo Hot Rod, Metal Batman, lots of cool little pieces. Thank you very much for all that stuff, Bailey. Then we've got Andrew from Carmel, New York. Andrew, who is Andrew sent in a unique box of stuff. He is actually a member of the Local 40 Ironworkers Union of New York, represent. And while he did send in some really cool toy stuff, the things he sent in that I was most impressed with, just honored, absolutely honored by. He sent in this handkerchief with the Ironworkers logo on there. He sent both producer Greg and I some t-shirts here so that we could properly represent the Ironworkers and feel like, you know, we try to include our community in on our toy adventures here. And I feel like Andrew really made an effort here to make us feel like we were included on the important part of his life, which is this is what he does for a living. You know, he described his job and riding the train and the hard work and how much he enjoyed being able to watch our program, you know, while he was making his daily commute. And that really means a lot to us both, to both Greg and I. And then, of course, there's a couple of pins here from Andrew. One is commemorating 9/11 and also has the Ironworkers and the American flag logo on there. And then this other Ironworkers pin as well. Just truly honored by that kind of stuff. It's very touching to receive those kinds of things and to see what and hear about, you know, what kind of impact we're having. You know, I'm just... We write the show, we try to make it entertaining, we hope people find it, and we hope it entertains you guys, and that's all we can do. And to see, you know, that we're actually, you know, reaching real people, that's all this is really all about, and I am genuinely honored by it and thankful for it, and I hope we can keep going on for a long time. Andrew also sent in some guts, some carded guts. I have a guts collection. I did not have any carded. That is fantastic. KB, marked down from $1.69 to 99 cents. Those were the days. I don't even know if these things would sell now today. I love them. They're just, you know, they're like better colored, better sculpted army men and all different kinds of troops. You know, there's laser troops and divers and stuff. Andrew also sent in the complete vintage Ram Man. Hey, there it is. It worked. And he also sent in, so he had Heat Blast was from him, translucent, rocking it. He sent in a couple other things related to, there was a DuckTales NES game, but had to make some cuts so I could fit all this stuff in here. Last up, Luke from Marietta, Georgia. We have the Gundam RX-78-2, the Origin version, master grade model kit. Now, Luke assembled this himself. He and his girlfriend, he said, assembled this and knew that it's my favorite Gundam of them all. And felt compelled to send it in. He did he added the stickers. Thank you. I never would have done that myself. I would have just completely left him off. And then he also did some really light panel work here, which is incredibly done. This thing is sick. It's absolutely ridiculous. I have a very old master grade RX-78 model kit, and it is nothing like this. This is leaps and bounds. It's almost like it's 20 years better than the one that they've had time to just the articulation on this thing. The posability is absolutely nuts insane, and I don't know if I can do it here. I probably won't be able to do it quickly enough, but this mechanism, actually, I didn't even know we were doing this. I didn't know this was the thing that was happening. He does have light up eyes, which is... just forget about it. Just forget about it. I don't even know what to do with any of that. It's insane. He's got every little digit on his fingers articulated. It's crazy awesome. I don't even know. Anyway, thank you for that, Luke. It's going in my Gundam case with all my other Gundams. It's right next to my Boba Fett case, so that's just a silly, fantastic thing. Big thank you again to Allison, Anton, Jim, Michael, Luke from Australia, Bailey, Andrew, and Luke from Georgia. Thank you guys, everybody watching this, for spending some time with us here. And before you leave, go ahead, hit like, hit subscribe if you aren't already a subscriber. Thanks for watching. Later.